Welcome back to the Mash Paddle YouTube channel. Today we're going to be brewing a beer that I've actually never brewed before, and I was thinking I've never even tasted this particular style before until I remembered about an hour or so ago of a particular beer that I've had that matches this style, and it was by Wayne and Stefan and their Litres beer. Because today we're going to have a go at brewing a Weizenbock. So what exactly is a Weizenbock? Well, essentially it's a combination of two styles of German beer, a Hefeweizen and a bock or double bock. This particular style, I'm actually looking at the BJCP guidelines because, as I said, I've never actually brewed this before, and it does have its own category in here. They describe it as a strong, malty, fruity, wheat-based ale combining best malt and yeast flavours of a Weiss beer with the malty, rich flavour, strength and body of a Dunkelsbock or a double bock. So this particular beer is going to be using mostly extract ingredients, but also going to have a partial mash in here as well. So we are using 2 tins of Thomas Cooper's Preacher's Hefeweizen. We're going to be using some dark dried malt as well, and in my little container here I've got a mix of 100 grams of chocolate malt and 150 of crystal malt as well. So we're going to steep that for about 20 minutes, and we're all going to be adding some halital in there as well as our bittering and flavouring hop. So let's go and brew our Weizenbock. So I need to point out something at this point. You'll see here in the grains that some of them look like they're not cracked, that they're still whole grains. Now this is purely my fault. When I was opening up the bag of crystal malt and measuring it out, I was too busy looking at making sure I got the exact measurement of 150 grams and didn't really pay any attention to what was going in the container and what it looked like. And it really wasn't until I poured it into steep that I realized that those grains aren't cracked. So there's a good chance that we got absolutely nothing out of those, and that for the rest of the 1 kilo bag of crystal malt, I need to crack it. But that's, as you've known so far with this channel, sometimes I will make mistakes brewing, and I've spent a couple of doozies already today. Never goes smoothly, but it's still good fun. So in the end of steeping, we've got just under 2 litres there of a nice dark chocolate liquid. We're going to pop him in with 4 more litres and start a very short 10-minute boil.
while we're
waiting for this to boil, I'll just remind you what's going in at this point. We're going to have half a kilo of dark dry malt extract is going to go in at the 10-minute mark. I'm also going to throw in a Whirlfloc tablet as well. And then at 5 minutes, we're going to add 25 grams of halital, and that's going to be our final sort of flavouring hop. Most of the bittering hops is going to come from the Thomas Cooper's Hefeweizen extract tins that we're going to be putting in at the end of this. And we're going to hopefully finish up with a beer that's going to be around about 50 IBUs, and we're going to be looking at around about 6.8 to 7% ABV. Now the guidelines for a Weizenbock is anywhere between 6.5 and 9%, so we're going to hit probably the lower end of the scale with this particular beer. Now that we've got our boil on, we're going to add our dark dry malt. Now you'll notice my malt's in chunks, which is not how it is supposed to be. Turn that off so it doesn't boil over. No, this should be more as a powder or more as a sugar. I noticed when I was measuring it out that the little Ziploc bag was slightly open, which meant moisture got in, and now I have chunks. But it typifies of the things that happen when I do brewing. Now for the Whirlfloc tablet, we'll let that go for 5 minutes, and then we'll add in our hops. And I should point out, just because the dry malt was in chunks doesn't mean that it's no good, it can't be used. Obviously, as soon as it hits the hot boiling water, it's just going to dissolve anyway, and that's all it needs to do. We have 5 minutes to go, so we're at our halital hops, 25 grams. This is going to give it a little bit more of that sort of spicy aroma and flavour that you come to expect with some wheat beers and Hefeweizens. So the Weizenbock, obviously being predominantly a wheat beer, and Hefeweizen is going to have that esters and phenols that you sort of get with your Hefeweizens, and then I expect with the darker malts you're going to get a bit more roastiness, maybe some dark fruit kind of flavours. Not too dissimilar to a bock or a double bock as well. So we'll let this sit for another couple of minutes, and then we'll start putting everything into the fermenter. So now it's time to put our Thomas Cooper's Preacher's Hep Wheat tins in. In this one we're having 2 tins go in. To save some time, I've already popped one of those in already. Take that off before it falls in, because we don't want to have that happen. So we'll add our 2 tins. We'll add the hop wort in there as well, give it a mix. Then we'll add in our cold water and get up to, I'm aiming around the 19 litre mark for this particular batch. And then we're going to use Mangrove Jack's Bavarian Wheat M20 yeast. This dry yeast is perfect for this style and any German or Belgian or wheat beer style. Hefeweizens, Crystalweizens, Dunkelweizens, anything that's a Weizen basically. It does give you that sort of banana and clove esters and flavours that you come to expect with those particular styles of beer. Top fermenting yeast as well. And the good thing about it is that it will work in any range between 18 to 30 degrees Celsius. This will probably still sit in at around 22, 23 to ferment, but knowing that particular yeast can go up to 30 degrees, it's actually pretty handy to know if you don't have the best fermentation control, if you do just ferment in a garage, or you don't have a fridge that you can temp control with. Or if you do temp control with your fridge, you know that up to 30 degrees. You don't have to put it in the fridge if the fridge is full. If you're brewing a whole heap of batches all at once, this one can just sit in a nice, cool, dark place to ferment. So now it's time to pitch our yeast. I've taken a gravity reading of our beer. We were looking at 10.67 was the target, 10.66 was our original gravity, 1.066. Pretty happy with that. We got close, got real close. So this should then, all going well, will come in at about 7.1%. Fingers crossed. So the wort's at 22 degrees, so pitching yeast. As I said, this one you can go from 18 to 30 in terms of when you pitch and the temperature range for it to ferment at. So we're going to leave this now for a couple of weeks before we keg and bottle. Come back to the YouTube channel in about a month's so's time. Hopefully I'll have a tasting video and we can see how this one turned out. If you like what you've seen today, please click the subscribe button and give it a little thumbs up as well. Head back to some of the other videos in the channel. I've been doing a few extract brews lately and some people have been asking when I'm going to do another all grain. I do have one that's ready to go. I've been sitting on it for a little while. I just wanted to get through some excess stock that I had in my little storage there. So the next beer will be an American IPA. It'll be an all grain batch. Tune in for that one. And if you want to know when it comes up on the YouTube channel, you hit the little bell to get notified. Thanks very much for watching. We'll catch you again next time. Cheers. All right, now we're going to put stuff into the fermenter. So we're going to start off with our 2 tins of Thomas Cooper's Preacher's Hef wheat. Mother